it was like, wow, I was about to say I was falling in love, but no, yeah, fuck it. I feel like I was falling for her with every conversation. It was this like, yo, I'm getting poetic in this bitch. This is crazy. All right. It felt like a rose with never ending petals. It's just like you want to smell the flowers, you want to smell the rose, and like each one that you plucked off was like, oh, learn this about her, love it. Ooh, plucked another one, learn this about her, surprised, intrigued. Oh my God, tell me more. And I just wanted to keep plucking, learning, falling. I wanted to, oh, this is good. Yo, am I a poet? I wanted to keep, I wanted to keep tripping and falling until I fell into this fucking empty pool filled with the rose buds that I was picking off. Ooh. Yo, I promise I didn't write this down. I'm just riffing. This is good. No, but it's true. Like I really wanted to dive head first into that bitch. Not her. But also, I would have dove head first into that too. You feel me? So today I woke up and I started not journaling, well, kind of journaling, but I'm gonna read you what I wrote and then I'm gonna get into the entry. You'll see what I'm talking about. So I wrote down Saturday, January 27th. How am I feeling this morning? What am I thinking about? I want to be inspired. I don't just want to talk about work because there are so many other things happening in my life. Feeling worthy of love and so many other things, including opportunities. So much of my value is tied to money. So much of my value is tied to how much I can provide. And then I didn't write this out, but I'm just like remembering as like the process of what I was writing. I started to just, and I do this often, but I just started to put like bullet points of these phrases or topics around what is just in my brain, right? So when I was writing that first paragraph, those first few sentences, I was answering the question of how am I feeling this morning, and then I go into like what am I thinking about. So I'm just bullet pointing stuff, right? So the first bullet point is feeling butterflies in your stomach. Then another one, I'm just gonna keep going through them. Being scared to post on social media. Going to see my family later. Body doubling. What is productivity? Being gentle with myself and being creative and the need to just think. This quote from this week's podcast guest, Anna. Um, if it's one thing TikTok taught me, communication. Oh, if it's one thing that TikTok taught me, it's the idea of you're not alone. Another one, communication esteem, not being a good friend. People reaching out and saying that they would work for me for free. Unsolicited feedback. Am I lonely or am I into her? That's probably the one that we're going to focus on today. Do you need to be rich to date? Another one we're going to focus on today. Home, my home, feeling mundane. Should I add plants? Instead of having a checklist, try to describe how things make you feel. Another one we're probably going to focus on today. It's wild how the world works. Working on something now and not even sure why or where it'll take you in the future. So, me saying, oh, and then I wrote, here I am saying that there's nothing to discuss, then finding dozens of things to talk about. What do I want to prioritize though? What do I want to think through for today? So the reason I read that and didn't just go straight into this audio or video journal entry is because I think it is helpful to illustrate to people that like sometimes you feel like you don't have anything to write about or explore or think through. And just by asking yourself some simple questions like, how am I feeling right now? You'll just start, it'll just start coming out. And the other question of just what is in my brain? And I've said this before, but the way that I would describe my anxiety is the overwhelming number of thoughts that are in my head that sometimes feel uncontrollable. And the way that I can control them often is just to get them out, right? Whether that's writing, speaking, whatever it is, but I need to transfer that energy out of my brain. So that exercise of just like writing out what's in my head, and it could just be bullet point form, helps me think through, all right, well, like, okay, there's a bunch of things that are here that I want to talk about. Which ones do I want to prioritize? And this is different because if you were journaling on your own, if you were journaling on your own, you could write and think and do all of those things. And it's just like a personal experience where you're just exploring those with yourself, right? And you can take that and share it with your therapist if you're working with, someone, right? But being that this is public and available Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, I'll probably pull clips from this. Also, please subscribe if you haven't already, right? But because this isn't public, you can understand that there is likely some hesitation to talk about certain topics, especially because not only are they public, my mom listens to these episodes. And that's it. My mom listens to this episode. What's up, mom? Hola, ¿cómo estás? Te amo. Uh, as I drink some coffee. Oh, that was so good. Oh, that was so good. Such a good coffee. Okay. So as I was setting up my camera, my microphone, the computer, and I'm like, okay, which one am I going to talk about? I even started thinking about which one, like, do I really want to talk about? Like, and when I say talk about, it's really like, which one do I really want to explore just for myself and my personal growth? And is that the same one that I want to record the episode about, right? And at first they were separated. I was like, I want to talk about dating. I want to talk about my love life, but it makes me uncomfortable. Is that something that I want to share with the world, right? Is that something that I want my mom to listen to? And no. The answer is no. But fuck it. What's like if I want to normalize certain behaviors in the world and I want to be an example and hopefully this content may display or even help people think through what they're going through, then for me it's worth it. And it's not like I'm going to be calling anyone out or whatever, but I'm comfortable being uncomfortable if it means that it's going to help someone else. And I'm not encouraging anyone else to do this or encouraging anyone else to talk about something that they feel uncomfortable talking about publicly. Like, you don't have to do that. In fact, I don't have to do that, but I want to. So you pick whatever you want to pick to talk about or not talk about, but like that's totally up to you. Anyway, dating. Dating is interesting to me because I think it involves so many different aspects of our lives. And I don't know if we often stop to think about it. Like, dating is complicated. I think, okay, so first is just ourselves. I think we need to have some level of self awareness into who we are, what we want, what we're looking for, uh, what we can offer to someone else, right? And that's just one aspect of it. I mean, even something of like what we want. And you hear people talking about like dating with intention, right? knowing what you want and being honest about it with yourself, even before we bring in someone else to the situation, like I think that's really, really important. And I think that's something that a lot of people may think that they know, but I don't know if they really do know. And where I am in my life these days, I don't want to be just like fucking around, dating around, being a hoe. I've been there. I've been a hoe before. Uh, non-commitment type of like I really want a partner. I want to build with that partner. And I'm not saying like pinky in the brain type of we're gonna take over the world. I'm not saying that, but I just want to build with someone. I want to be consistent with someone. I just want a partner, right? And I know that about myself. And because I know that, I date accordingly. So if I don't see something long term with someone, I just won't even try to date you. Like I won't even go on that first date, right? Because there was a time in my life before where I'll just be like, oh, like, yo, this ain't long term, but like let's have some fun right now. You feel me? And I'm doing a lot less of that and just telling myself like I just don't even want to waste my time or money on someone that I don't see a long-term relationship with. But let's talk about time and money because I think if I'm just gonna say like if I had the job that I had previously, I think I might be a little bit more of a hoe. A little bit more, like in between. Like I would still be looking for long-term relationships, but I think I would entertain some more short-term hoe activities until I find that long-term relationship if I had the job that I had previously when I was getting paid really well. Now, you're probably like, well, what does money have to do with just like being a hoe? Like you could be a hoe for free. Not for a guy. Not entirely for a guy. As I drink some more coffee for those listening and not watching on YouTube, let me explore that. Let me explore that a little further. I said, if I had, if I was still working at TikTok, let's just say, and making all that money, I think I would be a little bit more comfortable having short-term fun while I look for a long-term partner. I think I could do both. I've done that before. Then when I find that long-term partner, I just like stop all the short-term fun. Like I'm a faithful, responsible dude. You feel me? Hmm. Now, why is that? Well, short-term fun or just dating in general costs money. You gotta go out, drinks, dinner, maybe Ubers, gas, whatever it is. Like it's, and maybe those are a couple dates, and maybe that continues for ever so long. But there's some sort of like let's call it entertainment cost that I need to pay, right? And people be like, oh, but like Netflix and chill, or like oh, we could do things for free. Okay, sure, you can keep thinking that. I think there's some sort of entertainment cost, right? And at the point where I am now as a startup founder with not that level of consistency when it comes to income, I'm comfortable. I can still manage my lifestyle, but it's just not as consistent as like every 2 weeks you get paid, right? And get paid well. I don't feel like I am worthy of even entertaining some of those situations. Yeah. Sometimes like I don't, and I wrote this when I was journaling, like I do unfortunately still associate some type of value to myself as a human, depending on how much and what I can provide monetarily. And it's interesting. I mean, this is probably a story I'm making up in my head, but some people are probably listening to this and was like, no, no, don't do that. You have so much more to offer. But I've been on dates. I've spoken to women who, when I say what I'm doing these days, I can see the doubt being casted on their face, or I hear it in the qualifying questions of, oh, like, monetization strategy, how often do you get paid essentially? And there's just like what's the saying? Like you don't remember what they said, but you can remember how they made you feel. I was I felt broke and I felt unworthy. Unworthy to to be with that person long term. And is that the person for me to make me feel that way because I felt that way? No, probably not. But I do think that people in general value some sort of stability. I think it's the same reason why our families want us to keep the 9 to 5. And I don't think our families are any different from the idea of finding a partner. I think a partner also values stability. And right now, I think as much as people love the work that I do and value it and support it, I think when it comes to dating, and maybe this is a story again that I'm making up in my head. I think but then again, I see it and I feel it, right? So maybe not. Anyway, I don't think it's as valued when it comes to dating right now. I think it is when you can see some sort of success and consistency, but when the startup is in its infancy, and we're like 3 years in, but I would say in its infancy, I think like there needs to be a certain level of like faith in me as a person, or even faith in the vision or any of those things. You know what I mean? Possibilities. But I understand and I empathize and I see why people are scared, are scared. That's just like all of this stuff you got to even like think through about your own self, right? And I'm glad that I brought up this idea of feelings because I when you're dating, I think we often think about our checklist. I have a checklist. I think most people have a checklist. You know what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, I'm sure for dudes, it's like, yo, got for women looking at dudes, I'm sure it's like, oh, gotta be over 6 feet, gotta make a certain number of whatever, gotta do this, whatever, all that shit, right? The same thing for dudes, right? Like I'm sure there's some sort of like physical attributes that people look at, like, yo, she gotta have a fat butt, she gotta have this, she gotta look like this, whatever, right? Let's take physical stuff out of it. I'm looking for someone that is obviously looking fine and delicious, obviously, right? But besides that, I value a woman that is independent. I value a woman that cares about her health, physical and mental. Someone that is self-aware into who she is, what she wants out of life, out of a partner, understands when she's feeling a certain way and can also communicate that to me. So communication, I think, is a big one. Like someone who how we can just talk about anything from pop culture to how we're feeling to anything. Communication's another one. What else is someone that has passions outside of work. I like that. I really like that. And it could be anything. You could be into painting or museums, or your thing is food. So you're a food, like whatever. I don't care what it is, but be into something. And I think the last one, and I'm surprised I didn't mention this one first, I like a woman that is ambitious. Oh, I love that. Like a go-getter, some like chasing some sort of goal. Oh my God, you right, like you got goals? Oh, don't make me go shopping for a ring right now, girl. I don't know why I did that. Maybe it's just coffee is getting me going, but I love all of those things. Where was I going with this? I don't know. Whoa. I was talking about a checklist and I was saying, and again, that's the point of this like live journaling that I'm doing, is that I don't know where this is gonna go. And I may start one way and go on a tangent, but I'm just trying to get my thoughts out so that I can start my day. Okay, so where I was going with this is that I think we all have a checklist, and it could be kind of like an entrance to the party. But I think what we should really focus on, and this is what I try to do with every date that I go on, any person that I talk to, is have that as like a starter to like feel certain things out. But what you really should be thinking about, or what I want to think about, is how did that person make you feel? And some of these feelings you can't even describe, right? And I'm just gonna talk about this one woman that I dated. I'm not gonna say when. So this could be anything from middle school, high school, college, post college, yesterday to a year ago. This could be anybody, right? And I want to do that so that they don't know who they are. But I think the more that I talk about it, they'll probably know who it is. And the ironic, I don't know if ironic, whatever. The funny part about this whole thing is that I know that this person listens to the podcast. So she may be listening to this and even and like wondering if it's about her. It probably is. Anyway, this woman is taken right now. So you're probably thinking like, yo, why don't you shoot your shot? She made you feel that way. She's taken. But I think about how I wanna feel. And sometimes you don't even know how you wanna feel until you feel it. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't even know how to describe it until you feel it. But I think that's what we should be chasing in life is a feeling instead of a checklist. And I'm talking about dating right now, but this could be applicable to anything. This could be a friendship. This could be um a job. This could be how you feel around your coworkers, your manager, your this could be like you should aim for a feeling. So this woman made me feel butterflies. Like I feel so corny even saying that. Uh I feel so like childish, so like I don't know, romantic, but like the way that I describe butterflies, it could be anxiety, it could be excitement, it could be a mix of different things, but it's just like uncontrollable, like nervousness to fuck it up, or like uncontrollable nervousness to like or excitement for like what's gonna happen next. Like I would get like giggly or like excited to see her name pop up in my phone. I was like, oh my gosh, she messaged me. What did she say? And sometimes it'd be voice notes, and I'd just be like, oh my God, her voice. It was a level of not only what did she say, but it was a curiosity. No, it was an appreciation for me to for her to let me get inside her brain. Like, oh my God, you're giving me such a privilege to know what you're thinking about. And not only was I excited to hear what she had to say, but I was excited to respond because we had these conversations where we would just go into shit like anything and so many different topics of shared interests. She made me feel safe to openly talk about anything. I felt like I was in Planet Fitness, right? Judgment free zone. I felt curious. I felt intelligent. That's weird. That's the first time I've said that. Like I felt intelligent. Like she made me feel like what I had to say was valuable. Not only did I feel curious, but I also want to think about how do I make other people feel? And I know she felt a lot of these similar feelings as well. Let me keep thinking about how else did she make me feel? She made me feel intrigued. Like it felt like I was falling. It was like, wow, I was about to say I was falling in love, but no, yeah, fuck it. I was falling. I feel like I was falling for her with every conversation. It was this like, yo, I'm getting poetic in this bitch. This is crazy. All right. It felt like a rose with never ending petals. It's just like you want to smell the flowers, you want to smell the rose, and like each one that you plucked off was like, oh, learn this about her. Love it. Ooh, plucked another one. Learn this about her. Surprised, intrigued. Oh my God, tell me more. And I just wanted to keep plucking, learning, falling. I wanted to, oh, this is good. Yo, am I a poet? I wanted to keep, I wanted to keep tripping and falling until I fell into this fucking empty pool filled with the rose buds that I was picking off. Ooh. Yo, I promise I didn't write this down. I'm just riffing. This is good. No, but it's true. Like I really wanted to dive head first into that bitch. Not her. But also, I would have dove head first into that too. You feel me? I just I wanted to dive into more of who she was. Cause I felt like I was falling and I was just touching the iceberg of who she was. Damn, like I was falling and she wasn't even showing me everything about her. Damn, she made me feel like whoever the one for me was out there. She made me feel possibility. Damn. Let me get into that. Because I think that we often look at our checklist and because we date and we're like, oh, they don't check this off, or like, oh, I didn't feel that feeling, we tell ourselves it's impossible. I'm asking for too much. I'm too picky. I'm too this. I'm too that. Or maybe the person that I'm looking for doesn't live in my area. Maybe I gotta move to West Bumblefuck and they're over there, right? Maybe they just don't exist. And she made me feel validated. She made me feel like I wasn't crazy. She made me feel like the search is over. I think you get the point. And what I want you to realize too as I'm speaking is like some of these aren't words that I'm saying, right? When I some of them I'm like I feel validated. Validated is a word, right? But I also said I feel like the search was over. That's not a word, that's a phrase. And it's okay. Summarize those feelings and emotions however you want, right? So what I want to tell myself and what I want to tell anyone listening is to go chase those feelings. You know how you want to feel. Write it down. And go put yourself in positions, surround yourself with people, do the activities that make you feel those feelings.